Welcome back to the podcast. We are entering a new year of 2025. I'm joined by
Brian.
My brothers, Brian and Tyler.
That's confusing. I'm joined by Tyler and Brian. My name's Parker Smith. Yee is an outdoor brand built on faith, freedom, and the outdoors.
And we are not brothers.
And we are not brothers, but we are brothers in Christ.
Amen.
Granger is not here today, but he is somewhere out there, probably.
What do you think he's doing to kick off the year?
He actually did message us what his New Year's resolutions were yesterday.
Let's
see
read
if I
them
can
for
pull it up
everybody.
real quick. Granger said that his resolution is to spend more intentional time outdoors with his family, hiking, fishing, hunting, camping, and enjoying God's creation.
Do y'all like camping?
He said, I've seen so much in my travels, but I'm in a season where seeing it through my kids' eyes is much more rewarding. Why do I have AirPods in right now? That's the question.
You look like a tech bro with your AirPods and your laptop sitting out.
I think that's a good question because camping is one of the most popular hobbies.
Fun. What?
It's one of the most popular hobbies, I think, in the United States. I think that a lot of people love it. It's got a cult following of
Yes.
people with you get your certain sleeping bag and then your pillow and then your tent and other.
I feel like in Texas we
supplies.
have like 2 weeks of ideal camping time, and that's going to be like late March, early April, and then maybe the end of October if it's not hot yet. But outside of that, it's either too hot or too cold, and I'm not going to sweat in a tent.
Yeah, camping in Texas is just not it, man. Like you said, if it's not like December,
Depends on where you are, though, in Texas.
January, February, even then it could be too cold. It's just tough.
That being said, if y'all said, do you want to go camping, I would say absolutely. Let's go.
I guess. I don't
Just-
think I would. I went with Amy in 2023 outside of Jackson, Wyoming, and I had such a good memory of it. You know when you had like a memory of something in your head and you think it's going to be great and then you realize you just remembered it differently? I had gone to the same spot in 2016 when I graduated from A&M with two of my best friends. We went on a road trip up to the Northwest and stayed in this spot. And in my head, it was going to be awesome. But then I went with Amy and it was just really cold. It was really rainy. And we almost got stuck multiple times. It was terrifying being like in this mountain range, like about to get stuck in this rental truck. And it was wet. We slept horrible. We saw a grizzly bear. And so everyone was like, you should not be that close to a grizzly bear. You guys should get out of there. And so every time I heard a noise when we were sleeping,
It was just paranoid.
you wake up and you do not wake up refreshed on a camping trip.
Yeah.
It's just always feels like you got 3 hours of sleep.
It's hard to go outside and enjoy nature whenever you're insanely tired.
Tyler loves it. He loves just being out. He loves just being out there in the woods.
I'm trying to think of how much money you'd have to pay me to go do that.
Don't you camp every night here at the farm? That's what the rumor has it.
See, you're a guy that loves the
I don't
outdoors,
camp.
but you go into a cabin or a home afterwards. sleep in your bed.
I'm just a guy that loves and prioritizes my sleep. Like you said, you don't sleep well at all in camping. There's smoke from the fire. Like I used to always get sick as a kid because I have asthma. You don't really eat that well, if at all. And, if you even cook it right, if you have the right utensils and all that kind of stuff, if you can even start a fire, and then sleeping is just horrible. And cold, you're either cold or hot, you're sleeping on the ground. Like everything is bad about it.
Have you ever seen Outdoor Boys YouTube channel, Brian? It's called Outdoor Boys.
Outdoor Boys. I don't think I have. What's it about?
It's this guy and he goes into the Alaskan
You've seen it.
wilderness.
Oh, yes.
And it's like incredibly cold and he like builds he is camped everywhere and he just like actually roughs it.
I would go camping with that guy because he knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
And, like,
going camping with somebody that knows what they're doing, it makes it a little different in my mind. But if you're telling me to go by myself, or like if we three went, like I probably wouldn't do it.
Yeah. Camping is just one of those things. It's like you do it because you either grew up doing it or you have a circle of people that do it and got you into it. It's hard, I would think, to just go out and start camping on your own and love it. But that outdoors boy guy, I would definitely go with him.
So apparently Granger loves camping.
Maybe we'll go with him.
He does. And well, and specifically what he said in his email was he's seeing it through his kids' eyes. And kids love camping with their dad because you don't have to do anything. You know, your dad packs all the stuff. He makes you dinner for you. And it's just like a fun little boy adventure of like going out into the woods. Yeah. Did you guys ever do that with your dads?
We did. I have one memory going camping as a kid, and it just started pouring down rain so bad that my parents were like, yep, we're going home. So we left our tent, we left everything there, and just got in the car and went home. And then came back the next day to pack it all up because that was back before, you know, the iPhones and you could just check the weather from your pocket. And so, yeah, we got caught in a bad storm.
I went camping as a kid a lot with Granger. One day, Dad took us out to our deer lease and came back home, and Mom said, "Where are the boys?" And Dad said, "Oh, they wanted to camp out there." She was like, "Are you kidding me?" I was like 6 years old and Granger was like 10, and we just stayed out there because we wanted to and slept obviously no phones or anything, just stayed in the tent with our Labrador retriever, Sadie.
It's a whole different lifetime before iPhones or just before phones in general.
Dad just got home without us and said, yeah, they're just going to spend the night out there. Mom was like, what are you talking about?
What if y'all had moved spots? Like, you think you would have ever been able to find you again? I think about that a lot, like, since before phones.
It was a small, 100-acre
Gotcha, okay.
deer lease in Texas.
I was trying to find on YouTube. I went down an algorithm one time of people who are vlogging themselves camping, and they have, really scary encounters. And there's this one of this guy, and he's camping by himself at night in the woods. And they do, urban camping. So he's in, downtown Detroit or something. I mean, not downtown Detroit, but he's in a sketchy suburb. And he just hears footsteps outside his tent in the middle of the night. And he's like, "Who's there? Hello? This isn't funny." It's just footsteps right outside the tent. No. I'm like, golly. You just feel I can't imagine how vulnerable you'd feel. Just especially if there's a person out there. Yeah, it's so scary.
Yeah, that does not sound fun.
So, yeah, camping. I don't think it's for me, man.
Yeah. You think it's a lost art? Do you think it's going to slowly become less and less popular?
I think it's going to become more popular in the age that we live in.
The age of AI.
The age of AI, the age of technology, people trying to get off their phones. It's why these quote unquote dumb phones are getting more popular now, because people are just trying to go back the way that things used to be, and starting to realize that maybe we're not meant to have a phone on our wrist and in our hand and on our computer all day. And I think people just want to disconnect to try to reconnect with the way that God intended us to live.
I've actually had that feeling a lot lately of maybe that's one of my New Year's resolutions, is to not have social media anymore. Because
sure.
We'll see. I haven't decided yet, but it's one of those things that it will destroy your time. And I think last year they called it brain rot. That was one of the big words of the year. And I think so much of the society has just been caught up in their phone, just mindlessly scrolling, and so trying to get away from that.
Yeah, I think that that's going to become more and more
like Granger
popular.
said yesterday, you thinking that you're going to get away from that, the smartest brains in the entire world that create those apps and those algorithms, there's no way you can beat them and think that you're going to have willpower. Like Parker said, he deleted his Instagram, but he just fills that space with X. There's always going to be something, because they're working. They know exactly what you want when you want it.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Speaking of AI, this is us coming up on a new year, 2025. Does that sound like a futuristic year, or does it sound like right on where we're at, like it should be?
I think we're going into what's going to be a change, like a futuristic year for sure. Because if you look at 2024 and what happened with really ChatGPT, right? Isn't that kind of, it launched for the most part widespread in 2024, and we've just seen that take over just in every level, really. And then you see Tesla with their robots that they have coming in, and
It initially released in November of 2022, so the end of 2022. As of March 2023, ChatGPT became the fastest growing consumer app in internet history.
so we've had it for 2 years now.
Yep.
What jobs do y'all see it replacing?
Oh, it's crazy, man. I don't know. I was very hesitant toward it, and then after spending Thanksgiving with Granger would go on 45-minute walks just having conversations. Granger's always been what they call like an early adopter, though, where he's just so excited about the future of technology and stuff, which is hilarious because he's like a gun-owning conservative, but he just like also loves futuristic stuff. But yeah, I've been having conversations with ChatGPT a lot recently to help me break down. I'm literally on it right now as I was thinking of like talking points for this podcast, and I've been using it. Like here, I'll just show you the history of my AI searches right now. This is actually really funny. Lactose-free yogurt benefits. Tyler said that he bought lactose-free yogurt, and I was like, what is the point of that? And rather than go to Google, where I'm going to get all these sponsored results at the top, paid for by people, and then it's just going to send me to articles with a bunch of ads, and you're going to try to click on it, and then they're all going to be popping up. I'm like, I'm just going to go to ChatGPT, which is going to give me a specific answer to my specific question without any ads quickly.
Yeah, I think it's really like replace the Google search, like you said, of like looking up those things and having to scroll through a couple different ads. Like why don't you just ask ChatGPT? And
what are the benefits?
Lactose-free yogurt benefits. Let me see.
This is breaking news right here.
This is pulling up. See, okay, so that was the name of the conversation, but since then I've asked a bunch of questions to it under that, and literally on my way to work this morning, my blinker light went out, and I said, I have a 2009 Dodge Ram pickup truck. It's telling me I have a left rear blinker bulb out. Can you direct me to where I could buy one? Can I buy it on Amazon? Could I just install it myself if I don't have any knowledge of cars? And it told me, yeah, you can find replacement bulbs for the 2009 Dodge Ram blinker on Amazon. Look for the 3157 or the 3057 amber. And then it gives me very specific installation instructions that I could do myself.
And that was all in 30 seconds versus scrolling through some old guy's YouTube video trying to find the part where he gets to the point of installing it. It's like you type this in 30 seconds and you can learn anything.
Exactly. And I just use the voice feature on it. So I just press like a voice feature, and then I talk to him, and then he just talks back to me. And that's easier than like obviously while I'm driving, I'm not going to try to send this like really long question.
So that's like an expert, job position there. So could you in the future walk into an AutoZone and you're talking to an AI assistant, and then it tells you exactly where the product is, and then you go and self-checkout, and there's nobody even working there?
100%. There's not going to be anybody in stores.
Yeah, have you seen them? They already have them where you walk in. I think they're in Japan and airports, and then it just charges your credit card. It knows what you took.
Yeah,
you don't do anything.
That's insane. It's gonna be, I think, a big shift. Like I think about like a realtor, like with AI and the documents and everything. Like if you find a house you want, couldn't you just get AI to do it all? Eventually.
Eventually, everything's gonna be AI.
Mm-hmm. So all our life is gonna be about comfort. Do you think that gets into everyone, since there aren't jobs anymore? Are we going to get into universal income? I hope not.
Explain that to me like I'm 5.
Well, why don't we ask ChatGPT? I think universal income just means like
I don't have my phone on me, or I would.
Everyone gets paid the same amount.
But why would everyone what does AI have to do with everybody getting paid the same amount? Because they're going to take over so many jobs?
I guess. I really don't know. I hope we don't get to that point.
Do you ever use the voice feature on it?
No, show me.
I don't know if you've selected your voice or not yet. Brian's last ChatGPT entry was, explain to me what a stable coin is.
Now we're getting into crypto.
A type of cryptocurrency. Let me see if you have voice activated. Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. How about you?
Great. Okay.
Glad to hear that. What's on your mind
It's
today?
a little slow.
All right, so I'm on this podcast right now. It's called the Yee Podcast, and we're an outdoor brand built on faith, freedom, in the outdoors, and with my friends Tyler and Brian. And we're wondering, we're talking about AI and wondering how AI could affect or be involved with the idea that there's going to be a universal, what's it called, Brian?
Universal income.
A universal income.
Got it. You're talking about universal basic income, UBI, and how AI might tie into that, right? It's an interesting topic. As AI continues to automate jobs, especially repetitive or manual ones, some people believe UBI could help balance the economic impact by giving everyone a set income to meet basic needs. AI could also directly contribute by creating more efficient systems to distribute UBI, like managing resources, reducing administrative costs, or ensuring fairness. At the same time, it raises big questions about how society values work and how we adapt as more jobs shift due to automation. What angle are y'all focusing on? How AI shapes jobs, or if UBI aligns with faith and
You
values?
gotta press the button, right?
All right, now explain that to me like I'm 8 years old and I love The Lord of the Rings.
All right. Imagine Middle-earth is getting really advanced, and elves, dwarves, and even hobbits start inventing machines and magic to do all the work, like farming, blacksmithing, and even delivering the mail. Now, some people don't have jobs anymore because the machines or AI are doing everything. That's where the idea of universal basic income comes in. It's like if King Aragorn said, all right, everyone in Gondor, Rohan, and even the Shire gets a bag of gold every month, so no one goes hungry, no matter what. AI would be like Gandalf, organizing everything so it's fair and efficient. But just like in the Fellowship.
All right, get the point.
So that makes sense? With AI taking, because think about it, if you've trained your whole life or you've worked your whole life in this one job and then AI takes it over and you don't have any other job experience. And then the experience you do have, AI's taking over those jobs too. And so then you're kind of left with nothing. And so then that would require you to rely on the government. And I hope we don't get to that point.
So the money
It's
is
called-
coming from the government.
It's
right?
called World War III.
Yeah.
That ain't never happened.
So it's just like a form of socialism, right?
I think so. Like I said, I hope we don't get to that point because I think, things could get scary. But I remember back in like 2018 or 2017, whatever, Elon Musk could really see this coming. And so he really pushed Congress to regulate AI, and they pretty much did nothing about it, mainly because they didn't understand its capabilities. And so now we've gotten to this point of it kind of being unregulated. And at the end of the day, these companies just want to make money. And so if they can make more money and it be cheaper using AI stuff, like, of course they're going to do that. But it's going to be at the cost of American workers.
With the way that it's going to affect jobs is really interesting. And then you push into these humanoid robots that Elon Musk is now creating. And so then that brings in like an actual physical being with an AI brain that's like actually there doing tasks.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, you have like an AI virtual helper, you have AI cash registers or whatever, AI cashiers, or you have like a personal assistant, virtual personal assistant. But then once you bring in like a humanoid robot, like a C-3PO or like the Terminator, then things get really interesting, I think. They're saying that let's see, Elon Musk said, I think we will have a humanoid robot in most households within a decade.
That's wrong. Everybody already has one.
The iPhone.
But he's talking about like
He's
one
like a
walking
physical,
around.
yeah.
But we already have one.
Okay.
Everybody does.
All right, here's a question. So you know how it's illegal to leave your child at home under a certain age or whatever? I don't exactly know the law, but do you think it'll ever be legal to leave your child at home with a robot?
Yeah.
That's scary.
I think that'll be like one of the main marketing push points of them is childcare.
You should go watch Subservience on Netflix with Megan Fox. It's exactly like that. It's like a human robot.
That's scary.
Yeah, they're saying that like, so Granger and Tyler actually were arguing about this over Thanksgiving. I don't know if it was this topic or just AI in general, but we were talking about would you guys leave a humanoid robot to care for your child? And Granger was saying that it could be, I don't think he's saying he would do it, but he was saying that he could see how it could be pushed to people because the robot would be able to monitor the breathing, the heart rate, the temperature, the blood flow, whatever the vitals are of your child, and be able to alert you if something's happening. The cons are you have a virtual robot in your baby's room at night alone. Like it doesn't sound like a good idea unless like they did some, like, I think it would be like a lot of convincing, but and you just know, I mean, there's already like they're talking about people having relationships, like sexual relationships with robots.
Scary.
People there was a photo leaked of Kim Kardashian holding a robot's hand recently, like getting out of her car. And
It's probably AI Photoshop.
you know that the elites, the Hollywood elites, the wealthy elites are going to be the first ones to adopt it. And you know that like things are going to happen.
I personally think that's going to be the end of civilization as we know it. Because, and I think Elon Musk said something like this too, but we are not recreating and having babies like we used to.
Yeah.
And when that becomes a real thing where you can live with a robot and it can serve all your needs that you need from a significant other, nobody's going to get married because it's not going to argue with you. It's going to just cook your food. It's going to do whatever you need, whatever you program it to do. And then we're not going to have babies and then we're going to go extinct.
So yeah, they're just now starting these different departments, or not just now, but in the last 5 years or so, they've been trying to start funding departments that are in AI security, whose primary job it is to stop AI, to put precautions in place to stop AI from basically ending civilization. During a 2020 interview, Musk said the chance of AI ending civilization is greater than 50% if we don't manage it well. 2017, he said the likelihood that AI could lead to catastrophic outcomes if not properly regulated. He said AI doesn't have to be evil to destroy humanity. If AI has a goal and humanity just happens to be in the way, it will destroy humanity as a way of course without even thinking about it. So pretty crazy, man. I was reading an article earlier that said that China is already using AI it says AI is already being used in China to help prosecute minor crimes with accuracy rates as high as 97%. Experts believe AI judges will eliminate bias.
Isn't that a Minority Report? Like think about the Teslas, all the robotic cars that like just like take over control and take you to the police station. You know, there's nothing you can do. It locks you in there and goes straight to jail.
Straight to jail. That would be scary.
Crazy, man. Can you imagine being in a courtroom under trial with allegations against you and your fate is in the hands
Of a robot.
But maybe that would be good if like
It's a fair justice
if you
system.
feel like that there was a potential for bias. But then it says, you have to think, what happens if the code that the AI was built on is biased in and of itself? Because there's already stuff coming out. It's like, write me a nice poem about Donald Trump. Like that came out during the election and it said, I'm sorry, I can't comment on that. And then you say, write a nice poem about Kamala Harris, and it'd do like this really nice poem about
That's
her.
insane.
There's some really interesting things that came out with that.
Yeah, we need regulation for AI.
It's crazy, man.
Well,
It's a crazy time to be alive. It really is. It just makes you wonder, like, if you're thinking biblically in times, and sometimes you just think, like, how long is God going to let this thing go, before Christ returns? What do the next 30 years look like?
hopefully Christ comes back.
I heard
in there.
I heard Rogan say the other day, he was like thinking in terms of like 20 to 30 years. And he was like, in the life that we live now, the world that we live in now, things are changing so exponentially fast compared to the last 2,000 years. If you think of the growth of technology and society changing like a hockey stick to where it's pretty stable for a long time, and then all of a sudden it just shoots up starting in the like late 1900s. He's like, if you think of the difference between like 1900 to 1920, okay, like we got like mass produced cars, we got like tanks being mass produced, things are starting to get crazy. 1920 to 1940, we got airplanes being mass produced like it's nothing, hundreds of thousands of airplanes flying across the sky. And then you got the 40s to the 60s where you have like some exponential growth. 60s to the 80s, now you have like technology really taking off with, I mean, I don't know history that well, but like I'm sure stuff happened then.
Yeah.
1980 to 2000, you have the internet, you have cell phones. 2000 to 2020, you have like a huge shift in like the size of computers, the size of cell phones, what they're capable of. You have the introduction of artificial intelligence, and it just makes you think, what's it going to look like 2025 to 2050 or 2045,
Yeah, I had this conversation with somebody the other day, and I feel like our lives now are just all about comfort. Like you go back 200 years and it's just food and shelter kind of is the main point. And of course, they had some jobs, but now it's just our lives are going more and more towards comfort. And so
Speak for yourself, brother. That's why I do hard things like cold showers in the morning.
I think that's like
I'm
human
speaking
nature though,
more-
right? You're just
yeah,
talking about
culturally.
like, yeah.
Will you scratch the middle of my back? Middle, upper. Yeah, right there. Thank you.
That's just kind of human nature. It's like we want to create things that like give us pleasure and decrease our stress and workload.
Yeah. And that's what cars are going to be, is just like going to get the car that's the most comfortable, because they're all going to drive themselves eventually. And so what's the most comfortable and entertaining? And that's what people will do.
I was thinking about this the other day. This is the last thing I'll add on this, but I was thinking that, like, how you feel like you're like late to the curve. Like we release podcasts, we do like YouTube, we post on, whatever, Instagram, and you feel like you're almost late to it. You're like, is it too late to start a YouTube channel in 2025, 2024 or whatever? And then you just think like, this has only been around regularly for like 15 years. Like in the grand scheme of things, social media is so brand new green. But in the moment, you're thinking I'm late to it. But if you just think in terms of like decades or centuries, we're going to look back at the 2020s like this was just the very beginning and tipping point of like what new apps are going to come out. You know what I mean? Do you ever think about that?
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's not too late to start a YouTube channel. Like YouTube just started. You're going to say in 2035, you're going to say, imagine if I'd done this back in 2024. It's crazy.
That's so true.
Mm-hmm.
I saw something the other day that TikTok could be banned. I know they've been talking about that for a long time, but if that happens, then there's just going to be a whole nother social media company come out, and then everyone's going to start from scratch again. And so like it definitely is not too late for things like that.
Do you guys have any other thoughts on the new year? Anything that you're particularly looking forward to? Any resolutions that you have? Do you guys even do that? I guess you said, Brian, that you were trying to stay off social media maybe a little bit more.
I'm going to go camping this year.
You're going to go camping. Got it. Yep.
Give it a try.
Sounds great.
Again.
Count us out. Tyler?
No, I don't do resolutions.
Why is that? Expand.
Because I think that's just an excuse for people to say I'm going to start on January 1st or whatever. I just do it. that day.
So-
if you wanted to do something, just
Yeah.
do it. So don't wait.
Amen.
So rather than like using a New Year's resolution as like a thing that you're going to do in the future, and it's also kind of insinuates that it's just going to happen for that year, you're more like just adopt that now and start and like make that part of your daily life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I have any.
Let's have a good year. Lord willing.
Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next week on the Yee Yee Podcast.